Hello and welcome to another episode of FPL Escapades. My name is Kshitij and I am joined by Anand to review yet another game week 13. Anand, how are you, man? How is the game week 12 and games coming thick and fast, aren't they?
Yeah. Game week, last game week was just about survival. I just got 50 points and managed red arrows, but it could have been really worse. All my midfielders blanked, so it could have been really worse. I'm happy that I've just made it to 50. What about you? How was your game week?
My game week fared fairly well. I took a -4 hit to get in Son, who assisted, and Bamford as well, who assisted as well. I benched Martinez and played Bellerin, who gave me 1, and McCarthy 6. So I lost out on 11 for benching Martinez, and that has somehow, made me realize that however the fixture might be, Martinez is going to be my keeper. But a very interesting game week indeed. Anand, nobody wants to be winning the league. The Manchester United and City dropped points, so did Spurs, and then did Liverpool. Kind of an interesting game week, don't you think?
Yeah, really bizarre, especially with Liverpool dropping points against Fulham. I think small teams playing the big clubs always give them this emphasis of just how to at least manage some kind of point, and Fulham just did it. And at the end of the day, we may just say that they were a little unlucky not to win the match, and they just dominated most parts of the match. And like you mentioned, many teams dropping points as well. Even Chelsea dropping points in the last game week. So did Spurs against a very spirited Crystal Palace, who came in the second half, and they never looked like that. Spurs are on top of the table. So really interesting game week. Like I said, it was this game week was about just survival. Just it was because of so many big hitters, just flopping in a way and not returning with points.
Absolutely. And again, Arsenal being Arsenal, going down 1-0 against Burnley at the Emirates with an Aubameyang own goal. So seems a lot of chitter chatter has started with talks about Arteta, or is it the end of him? I don't think it will just be yet, but with Arsenal, you love to see it, don't you? But again, there'll be an interesting captain battle next week where BRUNO and KDB most likely will be the top two choices for the armband, wherein City play West Brom, so-called whipping boys, and United face Sheffield. So that is something really interesting to look forward to, which we're gonna dive down. Let's get down to business with. First of all, we look at both of our teams, and then we talk a little about the playing 11 and our captain picks. To start off, Anand, this is your team and like pretty interesting. I know that you've stuck with Johnston for quite some time as well, and to see that you have both KDB and Fernandez and Rashford and Mahrez. So I see a double up. So you going really all guns blazing, and are your eyes on Aguero?
Sort of Aguero, yes, but Super Emi Martinez gave me 11 points last game week, and really happy that I've got him. Martinez was always in the plans, but somehow I realized that you shouldn't waste a transfer on Johnston, and I was so sure about it that I shouldn't waste a transfer on Johnson that even after playing wildcard, I still had Johnson in my team. Once I started bringing in Villa players, I couldn't fit in Martinez because my second choice keeper was Steer, and even he was from Villa. And as I already have Grealish and Watkins, I couldn't just get in Martinez. And because of lack of funds as well, I had to keep Johnston, and then instead I removed Steer and got in Martinez. So that is how it worked out for me eventually, and now I'm reaping rewards for it because Martinez has been awesome since the time he has joined my team, or rather, he has joined Villa. And in fact, last game week was a little, kind of really good for me because previous game week I had Johnston on bench and he returned with 11 points, and Martinez just gave us a 0 pointer. But then this game week, Martinez redeemed himself and got an 11. While talking about strikers, like you asked about Aguero, so Aguero, especially because Guardiola has already confirmed that he is trained with the team. But then uh, might be I'll just go safe here. I have more concerns and more problems in my team right now. that I have to sort. For example, I have Grealish, De Bruyne, Mahrez, Fernandes, and Rashford, and I have Bamford, Ings, and Watkins. So I have eight starting players, and I can only start seven out of them in FPL. I really miss the all-out chip. If you remember, a few years back there was an all-out chip. If you play that, then you can play with five midfielders and you can play with three
Three
strikers.
strikers, yes.
And yeah, so that was a chip. I really missed that chip because it's such a big headache I have right now. Who should I remove? I might just end up removing a defender this game week, say Saiz, although it was a surprise inclusion. As seen in the last game week, he started. Even when Wolves played with a back four, he started. So it's too much of a risk, especially because I was spending 5 million on Saiz. So rather, probably upgrade him to a city defender who plays West Brom up next instead of going Aguero. And if by chance if I do bring in a striker, it will be Bruno Fernandes' teammate Anthony Martial because Martial post lockdown scored a hat trick against Sheffield. So you never know. What about you, Sudesh? How is it going for you? How are you planning regarding your Game Week 13 team?
Pretty interesting. I must say, Anand, I'm like really surprised to see like out of the 8 players that you have in your forward lineup, 6 are from 3 teams. You've double up on Aston Villa, City, and United. Uh, so that is something I'm really intrigued. I just saw your team and I'm like flabbergasted. It's a pretty interesting choices. And yes, I think like when I look at your team, I mean, sure, you can if you have money in the bank, or you can let go of either Watkins or Bamford. Aston Villa's run of fixture is about to change, so maybe after a couple of game weeks, you can actually think of taking him out. Like the problem that you have, I also have a similar problem of in the defense. We'll just talk about it in a second. Yeah, and what you're saying something.
Shita, so basically, this is a long-term plan that I have. So game week 18 is going to be a blank as of now. It's not confirmed yet, and game week 19 will be a double game week. Now, Villa, City, and United players have already missed matches. Villa have missed two matches, while City and United both missed one match because of their European campaign lasted a little bit longer last season. So they will be the ones who will fill in those slots in the double game weeks. So just it's like a long term planning that I'm doing. So because I don't have my wild card left and I don't want to do raise transfers just to bring in double game week players, or if some of my players are missing from the blank game week, I'll get in. So I don't want to do those kind of stuff because it's already been a horrible season and just adding a lot of raise transfers will just make it even worse. So that is the plan I have. And honestly speaking, this was one bit. And secondly, apart from Mahrez, these are the players that I really trust. As in, like, apart from statistics, whenever I see them, it's just really joyful. It's really fun to see them play because they are really good bowlers, and that is one aspect that I really emphasize on while picking up my team.
Great, great. And that now talking about my team, and you see Hector Bellerin there. Ever since I've got him, he has indeed given me returns in some fixtures, but off late, Arsenal being Arsenal, we were talking about that Aubameyang own goal as well. I think that I'm about to ship him out, and rightly so, as you pointed out. I might ship him out for a City defender. I mean, I'm torn between Cancelo and Kyle Walker's. I have the funds for both, but I just want to manage my money a little bit so that I can invest it in a City, forward or a midfielder like KDB or say Aguero. After hearing rumors that he trained with the team as well, so really interesting times. But yeah, I think Aguero is a couple of weeks off at least, because I think if he's definitely not going to
Yeah,
start according to me.
yeah.
And but yeah, he definitely has the potential of coming from the bench and scoring or assisting even. So that remains to be seen. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with Son last week. I was pretty happy with Son last week, and Bamford as well. Bamford still has an easier fixture, so I plan on keeping him. Might not play him when he faces United, but you never really know. With Leeds, should they look good and on form against Newcastle, definitely Bamford will go in my team. And talking about Liverpool and Spurs, right? The top two teams clashing, having Salah and Son. Son, I think like against Liverpool, I can't afford to actually take him out because I've shipped him out, I've gotten him back in, and then shipped him out again, and then gotten him back. So it's like wasting transfers on Son. I feel like Son and Kane and Spurs as a team has also, actually surprised us in their form while playing against such top opponents. So pretty interesting to see. Yeah, so I'm all in all really satisfied and happy with my squad. Definitely a couple of upcoming red game weeks ahead, fixture wise. But apart from Bellerin, I really do not have any other problem which I can foresee. And yeah, this is the question I wanted to ask you too. If I were to ask you a suggestion or a choice between Kyle Walker's, Cancelo, or Diaz, who would be your pick and why?
Very tough call to this, especially because they're just playing 3 4 days later. They played on the weekend and now they're playing back in the midweek. And with Pep Rule, anything is possible. Although centre backs are somebody who are more safer in Pep's team, especially because Diaz has been playing a lot of matches. But then Cancelo has been a really good provider, and but you never know what's going to happen in the next match. What if Cancelo starts on the right and Mendy starts on the left? With Pep and City, it's really tough to predict, especially because City might end up resting a lot of players against West Ham. Especially they just played on the weekend and now they're playing again back in the midweek. So you never know what's going to happen with Pep's backline. Although Diaz has been somebody who's been very regular in his team sheet, though you never know what's going to happen. He might just give Laporte a chance in this match, even even bench Diaz, or say partner Laporte alongside Diaz, or say even play Ake over there. Tons of possibilities that Pep has, and he's a very smart manager, and he would like to rotate. Especially all good managers, they whenever they have good squad, they do want to rotate. So it's gonna be really tricky. I'm gonna follow City's fan pages and Twitter handles till the deadline to be absolutely sure who's gonna start. But yeah, it's a really tricky one. It's not about talent or quality in this match. It's more about providing rest and maybe checking out the players like Ake or Mendy who have not played a lot of minutes this season. Pretty tricky one, Shadid. If I would be you, I will be just happy with the three defenders that I have, which is James, Justin, and Robertson. All three have been returning good points, and even if not points, Robertson in the last match did not return anything, but then even James did not. But they've looked really solid this season so far. But I think it's a really good looking team. On paper, it looks really nice, and probably a good week to save or bank a transfer.
Might be sensible more to say a bank a free transfer, but I just don't see Bellerin in my plans. But definitely I have a couple of issues that I want to address as well with Brewster and Ward Prowse maybe.
For me, like I said about Johnson, it was more of a case of getting in another player from another team. That is why Johnson still stick in my team. But what about you? Having Martinez and McCarthy, is it like a? It must be like a heart attack sometimes choosing between the two because both of them have been in good form and who to start, who not to could be like a big riddle that you must be solving before the deadline.
So I actually, while making my team and taking in Martinez and McCarthy, I never did actually think that I might have to face this dilemma of who's gonna be my main keeper. That had to be McCarthy for me going into the season. But then looking at Emi Martinez in a couple of weeks, I thought that all right, let's just keep him and let's see how Villa rolls. And boy, did Villa roll! So once Villa started rolling, then I think I had a conversation with you, if I'm not wrong, where you told me an analogy that in FPL you should always have one playing keeper, so that you're at least sure whatever he has to do for you, he can do. I want to play a little safe, that if, say, for example, Martinez is facing Liverpool, which he did, and did end up conceding two, that is when I want to play safe, which I did last week, played McCarthy instead of Martinez. That is the first time actually this entire season in 12 game weeks that it has come to bite me back, of having two keepers and to decide which to play. But definitely a problem for me, at least. I think it is a problem worth having, and whoever you choose, you go with it. So that is something that I took away from that conversation. And yeah, talking about taking ahead things from conversation, we move to my playing 11. So yeah, in game week 13, this is how I plan to line up with Martinez in goal. Robertson has to play Justin. Grealish, Son, Ward-Prowse, Fernandes will be my captain. Salah, Son, and Robertson might have a three-way of points. All the three might blank or either might return a very high probability. And of course, you don't go in a game week without DCL apparently anymore. So yeah, DCL and Bamford. So this is my lineup right now. I'm taking Anand, I'm taking your suggestion of banking the free transfer and just benching Bellerin for this game week. Mixed feeling going into the game week because a lot of team have difficult fixtures, but Grealish might do something great against Burnley. Coming on to Anand, you're playing 11 for game week 13. Looks like a pretty interesting team, and I just want to know: is this your final draft, or I'm sure tinkering is to be done? But was Mahrez really going to sit on the bench going into game week 13?
I miss all out attacks. It's so tough. It's so tough. Mahrez might not sit, but again, with Pep Rule, anything's possible. And I'm closely going to follow all City, top handles and fan groups to understand, who does Pep eventually starts. And defense is where I have to think again. Lamptey is a really good defender. Brighton missed him a lot last night against Leicester. When Lamptey plays, it looks like a different right flank over there. And coming to Ailing, he started playing as a centre back, so that is a concern again because Leeds are not famous for keeping a clean sheet. I don't expect Ailing to provide any attacking returns from a centre back position. So that is why there are more concerns that I have right now, especially with having five good midfielders and three great attackers who are the seven that's going to start, and then again in defense. So I do have one free transfer left, and probably I might just bring in a City guy for one of the defenders, like I mentioned earlier as well. Darshana, I wanted to talk about your choice about bringing in Son. So you got in Son last week, right? And who did you replace him with?
I replaced James. I took James Rodriguez out and got in Son.
That was
Yeah.
a really good decision because James did not play last week. Yeah,
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
So that went in my favor. But yeah, definitely, like I have decided to always bet for Spurs. If United don't win the league, I think my money is on Tottenham Hotspurs and Jose Mourinho. I think because Mourinho is on a mission to show all United fans and the United management that they made a mistake by letting him go, and we all know Mourinho is a winner. So as soon as I get the second wild card, I mean, I think I'm gonna go bonkers over either Aguero or Kane kind of a partnership up front, or definitely having Kane and Son. So, final question, Anand, are you going to stick with your captain choice of Fernandes, or do you think KDB might, just might, take you to into consideration?
Another difficult choice to make, a very difficult one. But I will go with Bruno this game week. Is it an away fixture for United?
Yeah, it is Sheffield United away and West Brom home to City.
I mean, City does really well at home, and so does Kevin De Bruyne, and Bruno is famous for away fixtures. Really tough choice, but I'll go with Bruno. He did blanks last game week, so probably because of that, a lot of people will not captain him in this game week because he blanked. Usually people, if they have a bad memory with a player, they don't go with him. So might be a differential captain this game week. While a lot of guys will go with KDB, but they just played in the weekend, and I do see Pep making some changes against West Brom to make a statement and to ask questions of his players because this is the right match for them. If he doesn't rest his players in this match, then when does he rest them? Especially because in the coming days there'll be double game weeks and loads of matches ahead. So this could be like a really good rest for the likes of KDBs and all, and probably come on from the substitute. bench. And even though they come from substitute bench and change the match or score a goal or something like that, but it's still too risky, probably for me to go with KDB this game week, even if the fixture is really, really green for them.
I know now it is a 2-0 win for BRUNO, or 2-0 call over KDB as captain. Bruno Fernandes wins it. It's been great talking to you, Anand. Games are really going to come thick and fast, and this is what we love about FPL. And definitely we'll try to keep up with the schedule and keep releasing videos like this. But before we end, we'd like to give a shout out to FPL 5-a-side with FPL Lens and Nuts About FPL. Link to the tweet to register your team before game week 13 deadline is in the description. To all of our supporters and listeners, thank you so much again for listening. Consider subscribing and liking this video. It really helps us as a growing channel. Anand, it's been a pleasure talking to you, and all the best for game week 13, and all the best to all of you. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this, and as always, may the arrows be green.